The Duchess is one of the more unique characters that you get to play in Elden Ring Nightreign. I'm going to take you through all the steps on how you can complete her Remembrance storyline that get you a couple different interesting items, including a new outfit for her. So let's get into it. Now, of course, before you can even start going through this storyline, you have to unlock the Duchess as a playable character. This is very easily done. Defeat the first Night Lord or play enough until you get a pocket watch. Give the pocket watch to the priestess and you'll be able to unlock this class. Once you have done that, all you have to do is play with the character until you unlock Chapter 3 inside of the journal inside of the Round Table Hold. Inside of Chapter 3, you will see Begin Remembrance as an action item. All you have to do is interact with the journal and press Begin Remembrance. It's going to bring you into this world of remembrance. Once you're here, you actually need to go and talk to the raider, who is going to be right next to the spawn point inside of this remembrance zone. He's going to tell you that the Wilder seems a little off and ask you to go and check on him. You'll be able to easily find the Wilder if you look at your map, and you should see a giant exclamation point above the Wilder's head. All you have to do is find his location and go and talk to him to actually continue through the conversation. Exhaust every bit of dialogue that you can from the Wilder, and once you have done that, you want to make your way back to the raider back near the round table. Do the exact same thing you just did with the Wilder and exhaust every little bit of dialogue with the raider, and he will eventually give you a new task which you actually have to go into an expedition to complete. Now, before you go and just jaunt into an expedition, you need to make sure that you're still inside of the Remembrance, because you have to go and complete this objective inside of one of your runs inside a Limfeld inside of the game while you're in the Remembrance stage. This is because only while you're doing a Remembrance run are you going to see on the map an icon that you need to go after. It's going to ping as soon as you jump into your game, and obviously you have to go and try and complete this objective. This objective is actually to go and try and get these particular plants. Now, as soon as you get to these particular plants, you're going to be ambushed by these 3 different enemies. Your goal is to defeat them first, because you also can't pick up the item until you have defeated all 3 of them. You can do this as a normal run, or you could try it solo if you are daring enough to do so. Now, no matter what way you end up going and defeating all 3 of these enemies, it doesn't matter as long as you go and interact with this glowing plant that will give you the golden dew. Now that you have done this, you'll get a big objective achieved inside of your game, and you can either complete this run by beating the Night Lord or just die at some point and go back to the Round Table Hold. Once you have returned back to the Round Table Hold, you want to go and interact with the Wilder, who should have a brand new exclamation point above his character icon. Begin talking with the Wilder and you should have a new dialogue option, which is basically just to give him the plants that you just got from Limfeld. This will move on the Remembrance, as you then have to go back and talk to the raider once again. This time around, when you're talking to the raider, he's going to thank you for helping out the Wilder and also tell you that the Revenant is actually looking for you. If you don't have the Revenant unlocked, that may halt your progress inside of this Remembrance, but I don't believe that is going to be a problem. But let me know down in the comments if it is, because I have a whole video on how you can unlock the Revenant as a playable character. Though for this situation inside of this video, let's just say that you do have the Revenant unlocked. It is going to be waiting for you inside of the garden, and that is the next place you have to go to continue this particular Remembrance. The Revenant, or the doll as the raider describes the Revenant, is going to tell you that the Wilder doesn't have that much time left, and as you always do with these kind of characters, you want to exhaust as much dialogue as possible to move on the storyline. Now finally, once the Revenant has stopped talking, you have every bit of dialogue exhausted, you now need to go and look for the Iron Manual, or the caretaker of the Round Table Hold, as you will see that he has a brand new interaction icon above his head. Once again, and for the final time inside of this particular Remembrance, go and talk to the Iron Manual and exhaust every bit of dialogue that is given to you. Once that is done, you will be able to exit this Remembrance and move forward onto the next part of this storyline. Once you exit this first Remembrance, you'll be notified that you have more memory fragments or more journal entries acquired, and you'll also be given the Golden Dew, which is something you can use at the Relic Rites location. Moving on to the next Remembrance questline, you want to continue through the game until you unlock Chapter 5 as another one of the Begin Remembrance pages inside of the journal. Now, Chapter 5 should automatically be unlocked for you at this stage. As you went through the first Remembrance, this should unlock this Remembrance as well, but for some reason, if it is not there, highly recommend you go and try and defeat another Night Lord or play through enough runs until this chapter is unlocked for you. Now, inside of this particular Remembrance, when you load in, there's not going to be any exclamation points, and you're also going to notice that the Wilder icon is nowhere to be found on this map. Your goal is to go and try and find the Wilder around this map. All you really have to do is go outside of the dining room, and you're going to get an indicator when you go past the painting that something smells very good nearby. Once you get that notification from the game, you want to take a look at your map and you'll see a brand new exclamation point. This is going to show you the Wilder is sleeping right next to a plate of bread. At this point, you want to go and interact with that plate of bread and eat some of the bread that is just sitting there. This is going to start a small interaction with the Wilder, and once this interaction is completed, you can move on to the next step of this remembrance. Your next step is to find the iron manual inside of the round table hold. On your map, you should see an exclamation point icon at this point, so all you have to do is go and find him in the round table hold and talk to him and exhaust his dialogue once again to continue through this remembrance. Now at the conclusion of this conversation, you'll actually have completed this particular remembrance. You'll have your exit portal to your left and you'll be able to exit this remembrance, and once you exit, you'll be given an interesting item that is going to be the Duchess's chalice, which basically just allows you to use different crystals every time you go into another expedition inside of the game. The third remembrance of the storyline is going to be found in chapter 6, which again should be automatically unlocked for you as you play through the game. Once again, if you don't have this for some reason, continue playing through the game or defeat another Night Lord. Now once you enter this particular remembrance, you're going to see a note on the table that you can interact with that is going to be a bit of a menacing note. This is going to be something later on that we can interact with that deals with the Revenant. But first you want to take a look at your map and you're going to notice a new icon on top of the Raider's head. Now just like every other time before, you want to go and interact with the Raider and exhaust every bit of the dialogue that he has for you, and he's going to give you a new personal objective that is going to be inside of another expedition. Once again, you want to go inside of the expedition while you're still inside the remembrance to trigger this ability to complete this personal challenge. Now before we go on this expedition, let's quickly go and talk about the Revenant. That is another one of the interesting icons and interaction points that you need to go through inside of this remembrance. You'll notice on your map after you interact with the note that the Revenant is waiting for you on the shores. Basically what's about to happen is you're about to have a one-on-one fight with the Revenant as the Duchess. All you have to do is defeat the Revenant however you want to. Personally, I found it very easy to take out all the different summons that she has to make my life a lot easier taking her out. It is by no means a very simple fight, as she is going to be level 8 just like you are. So basically take your time and take as many times as you need to defeat the Revenant, because once you finally do defeat the Revenant, she's going to have a small conversation with you and give you an item that you can use inside of one of your runs from the Relic Rights table. Now for the more challenging of the two items that you have to do inside of this remembrance, once again you have to go into a new expedition and find the icon that is shown to you on the map as soon as you load into this particular expedition. What you're going to notice is that there is a gravestone on a hillside, and as soon as you approach this gravestone, there are going to be a lot of raiders that are going to attack you very quickly. All you have to do is defeat those raiders and then go and interact with the gravestone. You'll notice that the item in front of the gravestone is called Weathervane's Words. This is an item that you need to give back to the raider once you have either completed this run or have failed this run, whatever you want to end up doing. Just get back to the round table hold. With that item in your inventory, once you're back at the round table hold by either failing or completing an expedition, go and talk to the raider and give him that piece of parchment that you just got from the gravestone. Once you have exhausted all of his dialogue once again, you should see your exit portal from this remembrance available. Exit and you'll be given an item that you get from the Revenant after you have defeated them inside of this remembrance that you can use at the Relic Rights table to help on your next expedition. Now the final remembrance that you can go through inside of the Duchess's remembrance storyline is going to be chapter 8. Now that does take some time to actually unlock this particular remembrance. For me, I had to defeat 4 individual different Night Lords to actually progress through the main story, overarching story, before I was able to get to chapter 8 unlocked for the Duchess. So you may have to go through the game enough to defeat 4 Night Lords to actually unlock this particular chapter. You don't have to defeat them with the Justice, so you know it could be any of the other Night Fares, just 4 individual Night Lords with any character. Now once you actually enter into this remembrance, you want to go and actually interact with the table itself, because that's where you're going to see the icon for your next objective going to be. Really all you have to do is interact. You're going to get the icon that says Bless Iron Coin. You'll get a small cutscene where you actually bless one of the iron coins that you were given throughout this entire storyline remembrance for the Duchess. Once you have blessed the coin, you need to look for for the Iron Manual, though you're not going to see him on the overarching map for the round table. Though you are going to see a small note in one of the corners that he normally frequents, which is usually one of the workbenches. This is going to tell you that you need to go and meet him inside of the crypt, but you may not know where the crypt is inside of this game because it's also not one of your fast travel points, or it may not be at this point in time during the game. You can unlock the crypt a couple different ways, but for this Remembrance it's already open for you. So from the round table holds expedition table, as I like to call it sometimes, you have to go inside of the library. Once you're in the library, simply go down the stairs and hook an immediate left to go down even more stairs, and you should see that the door that is normally closed is now open. Once you're down here, you should see the Iron Menial inside of the crypt itself, and you'll be able to go and talk to him, which of course you now want to go and exhaust every bit of dialogue that he has available to you. Once you have finished talking with the Iron Menial, you need to go and find the Wilder, who should be next to the changing station. All you have to do is interact with the Wilder, exhaust all of his dialogue once again, and then you'll have to make your way back down to the crypt to the Iron Menial once again. Now for the final time with the Duchess, interact with the Iron Menial and exhaust all of his dialogue. Once you have done that, you will actually complete this entire Remembrance, and you will be gifted a new outfit that is simply called Remembrance for the Duchess. Once you have done this and you receive this outfit, you are completely done with the Remembrance and can exit at any time that you wish. Once you exit this final Remembrance, you will be given the Blessed Iron Coin, another item that you can use inside of the Relic Rites table to help with your further expeditions with the Duchess. Now there are many different rewards that you got throughout this entire storyline, this entire Remembrance storyline. One is being this Remembrance outfit, which is slightly different than the one the Duchess gets as soon as you unlock the character. Now it's not that much different, but it is just slightly different enough to notice, and something different to change up how you run through the game. Now the Blessed Iron Coin, on the other hand, is much more useful and really is designated to be used by the Duchess herself. As you can see, these are the stats that you should get from the Blessed Iron Coin once you complete this entire Remembrance storyline, and again, I think you should use it because continuous HP recovery is awesome inside this game. Just like all the Remembrance storylines inside of Elden Ring Nightreign, this is going to take you a good amount of time to actually unlock these outfits, these extra really useful items for your future run. So I hope you guys found this walkthrough guide helpful. If you did, make sure to hit the like, subscribe buttons down below for me so I know that you did find this walkthrough guide helpful, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.